And we're live, the Movie Men, here gathered together to discuss my nomination, one of my favorite movies of all time, which is crazy because it came out in 2016. So to say of all time, that's saying something. But I chose Hell or High Water. Joining me tonight is Chase and Justin. It's a small crew, skeleton crew tonight. But I'm still excited to talk about this movie. And again, we're recording it so the other boys can see, they can weigh in. But I'm going to make my case for why I think this movie is perfect. First of all, as per usual, I like to describe my relationship with the movie just in terms of how this came to be, how my appreciation for this beautiful work of art came to be. It was similar to King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, that I was telling you guys a few weeks ago, or I guess a few months ago now, where essentially I ran out of movies to watch out of the theater. I was single. I was living by myself. Every Tuesday I go see a movie, and I just ran out of movies to watch. And so I was like, Hell or High Water. It's got Chris Pine. It's got Jeff Bridges. Why not? Never heard of it. And I sat there, and that first scene, I'm like, oh, it's a bank robbery movie. And just the feel of it. And I didn't even know who Taylor Sheridan was at the time. I have since obviously learned, Yellowstone, Landman, Sicario, Wind River. Like he's got awesome writing skills. And so now when I see a Taylor Sheridan movie or TV show, I kind of know what to expect, and I still love it. But this was my first exposure to him. And I was like, there's something different. There's like a different feel about this movie. There's something it feels so raw and dry and slow, yet it's captured my full attention. Like I was glued to the movie screen, to the movie theater screen. And again, that first bank robbery scene, I was like, this is like something I've never seen before. I've seen bank robbery movies, but this seemed just grounded a lot more in reality. Like the way that they were having conversations, it was kind of a clunky bank robbery. And you could tell that one of the bank robbers wasn't as into it as the other one was. And you're just like, this is kind of, I don't know, it just kind of scratched my intellectual interest. And I'm like, okay, I'm in it. I'm in this movie. And then as the movie goes on and you start to learn about these characters and you start to get to know them and you get to know their motives and you get to know their personalities and you're immersed in this world. Again, the way that I described it on, our last chat when I introduced it, when I said this was going to be my nomination, I described it something like, it's like a modern day, it's like you take the feel of a spaghetti Western, and we all love Westerns, and you just place it in a modern context. That's what this movie is. It's just like things that shouldn't make sense in a modern context all of a sudden make sense, like robbing banks and getting away with it. What, with all the cameras in 2016, with all the technology, and yet it works, and like, oh, they're using like a handgun that's just like your run-of-the-mill handgun, and they still make mistakes and they like trip over themselves, and like the cars are just normal cars. But also it's 2016. It's like, people have cell phones, people have cameras, I don't know. It's the way that Taylor Sheridan is able to blend the modern, like, complexities of society with like an old time Western feel. Nobody does it better. And again, this was my first exposure to that. So just again, my pitch for perfection, without going through the list item by item, I've just got to say that this movie, Hell or High Water, it had incredible acting. It had great characters. I mean, Jeff Bridges and his sidekick, like their entire story arc where he's just saying like racy, off the cuff jokes. I shouldn't say racy, but racist jokes. Just off the cuff, like super funny. It's super free. It felt like it was a free movie. Like Taylor Sheridan wasn't worried about like the political correctness blowback that he would get from writing, jokes about Native Americans or whatever, coming from a white cowboy, who was a cop, being Jeff Bridges. And so, the movie was funny at times. It was heartfelt. I mean, I'll get into some of my favorite parts once we get this discussion going. But the characters, the humor, I already mentioned, and I've been saving the best for last. This is my favorite part about the movie, personally. The cinematography. Again, going back to the feeling of the movie. The cinematography of this movie, I feel like, is so, if you aren't paying attention, it could almost go unnoticed. But it doesn't go unnoticed subconsciously, because even subconsciously, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm anxious to hear what you guys felt about it, but you feel that this is like a visually stunning movie. Couple scenes just to illustrate. Again, it's filmed great, and it's like in Western Texas, and it's so like it's dusty and it's sunny and it's flat, and also the score. Are you kidding me? These super novel, out there, nobody's heard them before, real, at least I haven't, and I'm a pretty avid country music listener, but these country songs that he threw into the movie that just hit just right. And it's like these abstract, not, yeah, kind of country songs in the abstract, like not your mainstream, you know, Kenny Chesney, Rascal Flatts type country, but like old school grizzly country that you probably haven't heard of before. And it just created this atmosphere of the movie that was so palpable and it was so appreciated by me. But again, the cinematography is a part of that. And just a couple scenes is like the scene where Chris Pine's character and his brother, you know, Ben, what's that actor's name? Ben Foster, I think, where there's those two characters. There's this moment where the movie slows down and they're just brothers and they're like punching each other and they're like kind of wrestling at the fence and and the sun is setting and it's just like this beautiful moment that they share together. And like the way that it was filmed, I'm just like, I could watch that like that. I just wanted to freeze that moment and capture those feelings. Same thing, that scene when Jeff Bridges is like walking out of the hotel room and he wraps himself in like an Anasazi blanket and it's just blowing in the wind and the sun is setting. Like it's just like a beautifully filmed movie. Like the cinematography was taken with such great care with like a scalpel and with the precision. And then it has action, it has bank robberies, it has heist, it has cleverness, it has a detective, a cat and mouse story. They're burying cars, like creative, ingenious way, you know, cleaning the money through the casinos, which that was the first time I'd ever seen that. Lots of movies have done it since, but that was the first movie I've seen that done. And I was like, that's genius. If you rob bank money, take it to a casino and they clean it for you. You just cash out, like take the chips, put the chips back, they give you new cash and boom, you're home free. So, and then the motive behind them being bank robbers, are you kidding me? Like the nobility behind them, like their mother's land. Everything about this movie. And I know I sort of say this about a lot of movies I nominate, but I can't imagine cutting any scene out, any part out. I felt like this was a tight movie. Everything was relevant. Everything was driving the story forward. And the end obviously was great. You know, the little showdown that Chris Pine has with the cop, with the retired cop, you know, Jeff Bridges, and that little like sparring match of words that they had, just a capstone to an excellent movie. So those are my thoughts. That's my pitch for perfection. Justin, let's go with you. What were your thoughts about this movie? Was this your first time watching it? What do you think? What do you think about my assessment? Let's go.
I don't think you're prepared for this kind of smoke there. So best movie of 2016, just let me give you a list of 2016 alone. You tell me this is the top of the movies, okay? Arrival, Hacksaw Ridge, Batman versus Superman, okay. Jason Bourne, Tarzan, all right, Great Wall, Snowden, Magnificent Seven, the remake, Free State of Jones, Split, Passengers, Finest Hour, which is also both of them in it, Zootopia, Rogue One, Now You See Me Too, Captain America Civil War, Doctor Strange, we were just talking about X-Men Apocalypse, Warcraft, and now you have Hell or High Water, and you're telling me Hell or High Water is way better than all of those in just 2016. So, are you kidding?
Clearly better than at least half of those.
What was that? What?
At least better than half of those for sure.
No, I'll give you that.
Well, that's a great year of movies, though. Absolutely.
Yeah, isn't that was just like next year it'll be a decade ago. So like those are almost classics. Yeah. This movie, I loved it. And I love cowboy movies, and I enjoyed every second of it. And even if I didn't understand it at first, you know, you're not meant to. I thought every character, even if it was like a 2-second character, like the sheriff with his bloody nose is just explaining the thing. The lady, she's like, were they black or white? Is their souls or their skin? You know?
Oh, I love that line. I was gonna.
And then the old lady, she's like, I've been working here for 44 years. You want a T-bone steak and a potato? That's all everybody orders, and that's what you're going to order. So shut up and eat it. It's like you said, it's timeless. Even though it's 2016, it feels like that could be in the 70s, 80s, 90s, as long as, you know, the anachronisms aren't there. Like those were older cars, so you could almost put this anywhere from the 80s. It felt like 80s to now. I did like the ingenious of the burying of the cars and then the casino, and then you don't fully understand the motives of the one brother. You get the is it Toby is one and Tanner is the other, I believe, something like that. They're both T's. You don't know what Chris
Toby
Pine's
is,
character.
Chris Pine, and Tanner is Ben Foster. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You don't know the motive of Chris Pine, but you can tell he's the mastermind, but he's not comfortable in it. And then you can tell Ben Foster, I mean, it's through the movie. He's like, how did you stay out of prison for a year? It's like, it was difficult. So the whole point of the movie is the motivation of the main character, and you don't really know it, except for you get more pieces as it unfolds. It's like Ocean's 11 almost, a little bit smaller scale, but it's kind of like that moment for me. I just I point this out just because I think I'm personally of the opinion that you could have hundreds of perfect movies. I'm not limiting to myself to just 5, right? But this reminded me of The Fugitive, John Q, Heat, when he's spraying all the cars that are coming after them,
Yeah.
and just spraying bullets. And I think it was better than Heat, and I like that scene. It reminded me of American Outlaws, Wind River, obviously because the same writer. True Grit, Ocean's 11, kind of a Pulp Fiction-ish vibe, and then The Prestige, Two Brothers Die. I enjoyed almost every scene, and yeah.
Plus, this might be a first. This might be a first where you and I just agree right out the gate of a movie's greatness. So this is revolutionary.
That's why I had to start so harsh.
Yeah, you couldn't be too agreeable. You got to keep up the MO. No, that's awesome. Chase, what were your thoughts? And I've got some specific scenes that I want to go over with you guys here in a minute, but just generally, Chase, what were your thoughts? What's your relationship with the movie? First time watching it?
Yeah, so this was my first time watching it.
It was?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And full transparency, I haven't seen Sicario either. So I'll get to it, but right. So I love Wind River, right? Like that. I can't remember if I recommended it to you or you recommended, but like that movie was such an amazing movie, and it was so well done, and like it also has a cinematography, a great just like outback story kind of a thing. And so this movie, I was excited to watch it because I like Taylor Sheridan movies, and so yeah, went into it, and yeah, just like their methodicalness in their bank robberies, and you're trying to figure it out, like, you know, as they're going through, and having worked in a bank, right, I'm going, okay, like, are they following the right protocols and all these different things. And it's funny because you mentioned it happened in 2016, like, don't they have cameras and all this stuff? And they addressed it with a line of dialogue where they're updating all of their security stuff, and so like they didn't have recording, and it wasn't going to the central database to be recorded, whatever it was. I was like, that's really clever. And so yeah, it was recorded, but it wasn't being recorded, right? They had cameras, but and so clearly they had somebody on the inside who told them that was the time to do it. And then again, right, it was just like these small branches where like nobody was there. It was, you know, one person there or whatever, until that last one where they go and there's like a dozen people, right? And that's where things went south. And so yeah, it was really interesting. Like as Justin mentioned, them burying the cars. And I was like, oh man, they're on a farm and they have tractors, and it's just right. I mean, they're doing it to save the farm, but they have the access to the stuff, and so right, it almost kind of gave me Breaking Bad vibes, where it's like, okay, we're taking this car. They paid the dealer guy, and they're like, okay, you know, they paid him cash, and they're like, okay, and on Friday report it stolen. and so it gave him a little bit of time to deal with it, and then bury it. So like it, from me watching it, I'm like, I don't feel like it had many, if any, plot holes. Like they did a pretty good job of buttoning up the story pretty tight. And then and yeah, I mean, the relationships I really liked, the cinematography I really enjoyed. I would say, and I wouldn't say I would count it as a negative, but right, the pacing was slower, right, than other movies. But so was Wind River. And so, right, he just likes to take his time, and he likes you to sit and like enjoy the moment, enjoy the sunset, enjoy, right, whatever. And so, yeah, dude, and I gotta tell you, like this weird, I can't even say it's nostalgia because I've never done it, but this like envy when Jeff Bridges takes that like blanket and he goes and he just sits on it, right? And he just sleeps outside with that blanket in the warm Texas sun. I'm like, man, there's like an envy there. With like, I know what that feels like. It's like Lake Powell, right? When like in the summer when it's a little chilly, but it's still like there's all the radiant heat, and you just put a blanket over and you're just like perfect. And so that, like, oh man, it hit a lot of feels with me. You know, the climax was fantastic, very realistic, you know, like a realism standpoint. Anyways, yeah, lots of perks on this movie. You know, a couple of minor critiques, but they're really mainly just character stuff where I didn't like, you know, characters doing this, that, or the other, and you know, I'm like, well, you know, every person's one in 8 billion, so right, you're gonna get all sorts. So, anyways, yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed my first time.
Dude, I was literally going to bring up Lake Powell when you said, when you were talking about that blanket scene. I was like, I feel like we felt that, you know, waiting for the fireworks on the 4th of July, we kind of wrap in a blanket, but you don't really need it because of that radiant heat that you were talking about. Totally know what you're talking about. The characters. Let me just talk to you guys about the characters real quick, because I think that this movie has such strong characters. The story's strong. Obviously, I love that they were saving their mother's farm, that there was oil on the land, and they just needed the money. You know, come hell or high water, you get that thing paid for by this date. Like, great plot, great story, because, you know, it drives the characters to do what they do. And so you've got the 2 cops and the 2 brothers and the cat and mouse story, which is great. But just as you isolate the relationships that this movie accentuates, at first you think that the brothers are kind of like at each other's throats. He's like, you know, when they do the first bank robbery, you know, Toby's yelling at Tanner or whatever, and Tanner's like, it's all right, I'm not speeding, you know, and it's kind of like brotherly quarreling, which I really appreciate, having lots of brothers, obviously. And but as the movie goes on, you find that their quarreling is just that. It's just brotherly quarreling, that they actually really do love each other on like a deep human level. I love how it reveals, obviously, Tanner was, you know, in prison, but later in the movie it explains why. And again, the way Taylor Sheridan writes this, like, it's not blatant like exposition. It's contextualized and it's natural, where he said something like, well, I made sure that that was the last beating our dad ever gave anybody. And you're like, oh, he killed his dad, that's how we went to prison. Like, there's like implied intelligence there, where you kind of piece it together with like these offhanded statements, and you're like, so he's actually kind of a good guy, even though he was in prison for all those years. And my favorite line of the whole movie, I think, this is I might change my mind on this, but just off the top of my head, my favorite line in the movie is when they're in the diner and the 2 brothers are sitting there, and Tanner is like chuckling to himself. He's like, I don't know how you think like you're gonna get away with this. And he's like, yeah, why's that? Like, Toby says, yeah, why's that? And he's like, because nobody ever gets away with this. And then Toby says, well, why'd you do it, huh? Why are you doing this with me? And you remember his response? Tanner's like, because you asked me, little brother. I was like, that is so sick. That is so sick. Like, the fact that Ben Foster's character didn't even think that they'd be successful, but he was down, like he was going to be the ride or die just because his brother asked him to. I love that, man. I got chills the first time I watched that. I was like, that's such a great line, man, because you see like his heart on his sleeve, you know? And so then you get like this older younger brother dynamic. But what I love about the movie is it even flips that on its head sometimes, like at the gas station, because now you think that Ben Foster's like Tanner's the like older protective, the protective older brother, and Toby's kind of the younger brother under his wing. But then you get the gas station scene where those punks are talking, and then Toby comes out and beats the crap out of them in protection of his older brother. Like I don't know, I just love the brother dynamic of this movie.
Are they older? I don't think it ever mentioned who's the older brother. Does it?
No,
anyway.
I feel like Ben Foster's character was the older brother because like he killed the dad to protect Toby, and right, like because Toby couldn't protect himself, and so his older brother came in and killed his dad. So is what I remember. But
it felt like the dynamic was older younger brother, didn't it?
Yeah. Like the younger brother,
Tanner is the older brother.
One.
Yeah.
The younger, more level-headed brother.
I love too, like when he flirts with the check-in lady at the hotel or whatever, and after he hooks up with her, and he's like, "It's always the sweet ones that are the wildest," or whatever. And Toby's like, "Yeah, I wouldn't know." He's like, "Yeah, you like the angry ones, like
you like them pissed off, looking for someone to blame."
Yeah, that's right. Like, I don't know, like the writing in this movie is so clever and so fun, and the way Ben Foster like really hammed up his character, I really appreciate that too. Like his character, like the deep Texas accent, and like him just being kind of unhinged, and like to Chase's point, the climax of the movie where he's just haphazardly blasting cop cars and people, anybody, just to cause a distraction to let Toby get away.
He's being Comanche. He knows that he is dead.
Yeah,
and he knew he was dead the moment his little brother asked him to, and you don't realize that until the end when they both lovingly tell each other to go F themselves. So that's when I was like, oh, this is the end game. Like he doesn't ever intend to meet up again. Like this is the whole plan. And I think deep down Toby knew that the whole time. He's like, if I ask my brother, I don't know how this is going to end up, And then he's slapping him. He's like, dude, you're shot. You gotta, he's trying to hit him, and then he realized, oh no, you're actually hurt. You're not wussing out. You're literally bleeding to death.
Yeah,
he changed his tactics. But
can I just say too, in my opinion, this is Chris Pine's best performance. I've seen him in what was that fantasy movie that you just rattled off? Was it wasn't Dungeons and Dragons? Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons, right? He's in
Dungeons and Dragons.
He is, but I didn't mention it.
Yeah, so you got Dungeons and Dragons, you've got Star Trek, you've got This Means War with Tom Hardy, like a rom-com. In all of those movies, he's kind of the same, like he's loudmouth, he's an extrovert, he's charming, he's that guy. This is my favorite performance of Chris Pine because he's almost like a shy, introverted cowboy, and you've never seen him play that before. And yet he's still got like those piercing blue eyes, and so much of his character is played through his facial expressions and through his eyes, in my opinion. Like that scene you were just talking about when they had their like final goodbye and like, go F yourself, you go F yourself. Like that little smile, that little twinkle in his eye. I'm just like, Chris Pine, he came to play in this part. Like he pulled out all the stuff. Like it felt like he really worked hard on this role because it's so different than anything he's ever done. It seems so counter to his, natural, charismatic, normal character that he usually plays in these movies. This one was so like dialed back, toned down, and like cowboyed up, and I really appreciate that from Chris Pine. It felt like I wasn't watching Chris Pine. It felt like I was watching whatever character he was portraying. It was just a brilliant. Whereas even Ben Foster's character, he kind of has some of those same mannerisms in Lone Survivor or whatever. I think he was in 310 to Yuma, wasn't he? That he had the double pistols. Like he was kind of, there's some similarities there, but Chris Pine was completely different. Even Jeff Bridges, he really threw on like the Southern drawl, like super thick for particular.
He got that from True Grit.
Yeah.
He just was more intelligible this movie.
Yeah. But even that, like I love the sound of Jeff Bridges' voice in this deep, deep Southern drawl, like this West Texas accent. Like it's almost like he didn't open his mouth all the way for the words he's trying to say. He just kind of like drawls his words. Like, I don't know. It was fun listening to him. I love the jokes that he was making with his partner. And I love, here's another cool. So I talked about the two brothers. That's one component of this movie. The two cops that are chasing the cat to the mice, the cats to the mice. I loved like to Chase's point, the movie's kind of slow. And I told you guys this when I nominated it. I'm like, I like, take your time with this movie. Enjoy the slowness because it's intentional. And I'm okay with slow movies, like pacing slow if it's intentional. And so a couple examples of this are, you know, the moments I mentioned of them like fighting at the fence, and then Jeff Bridges, you know, walking out and sitting in the chair with the blanket. But another moment that was kind of slow that I appreciated was in the hotel room when they just kind of go back and forth. And it's just like, it doesn't really move the story along, but it just kind of, it develops their characters and it shows kind of the dynamic in their friendship in a way that no other scene really did, where like his partner's just annoyed that he wants to change the channel. He's like, you can go get your own room if you want, but he's still pestering him. And it's just like this friendly dynamic. And what's cool about this movie is in the theaters, I'm like, how are they getting away with all these Indian jokes, with all these Native American jokes? Like, this is not allowed in 2016, especially like that's the year of cancellation. Everybody's getting canceled in 2016, you know? I'm like, how does he get away with this? And how he got away with it is at the end of the movie. So after all this teasing and annoyance, at the end of the movie, when his partner gets shot, Jeff Bridges' distress, his guttural yell, his insistence to get up to the, and then his insistence that he takes the shot, not the guy, not the owner of the rifle, that to me squared that, like finished that storyline, like capstone that storyline so beautifully, because it's like, yeah, he was teasing him like guys do. You insult your friends. That's what guys do. And so then like at the end, when he lost his friend, then you saw then the mask came off. And you saw that he actually truly cared about this person who was his actual friend, not just his partner.
So I think that dynamic was always there. Like even when he was annoyed with him and he's about to retire, and him giving him guff at the very beginning to dressing like me, you know,
Yeah.
like you could tell it was it's like when you've worked too many long hours with the same people, you're like,
yeah,
we're brothers, even though I'm annoyed with you half the time.
yeah.
But you could tell like he just turns his back to him out in the bed.
Yeah.
But he's just like, you know, I love this guy, but man, he's annoying right now.
Right.
The only thing that I've heard that from somebody that says they would have rather seen it different is if Jeff Bridges died and his Indian partner, I can't remember his name right now, if he was actually the one to figure it out and then he had the showdown at the end. I think I'm in the camp of I could have gone either way. I don't mind how this ended at all. But what do you guys think of if Jeff Bridges was the one that got shot and died with no fanfare, and it was the Indian that took over?
I liked it better the way that it was, just because I feel like Jeff Bridges was more, you know, he was the more savvy detective, the more seasoned detective, the more knowledgeable. He ran point during all their investigations. You could tell that he was like the main head honcho. Obviously, he's about to retire, so he has tons of experience. But I think that and he was more articulate and more invested in the story than his partner was. And I think that pays off in the end. That final conversation he has with Toby on the back porch, and he's like, you know, maybe someday, I forget the exact dialogue, but it was so beautiful, where he's like, you know, maybe someday somebody will like show up with to you with a gun or whatever. And Toby's like, yeah, I'd like that. And he's like, feel free to come on over. You know where I live. I'm right over here. Yeah, maybe I will. Like there was like this cool machoism right at the end where both of them were just kind of staring down the barrel of each other's guns, you know, figuratively, obviously, and just like drawing a line in the sand and being like, say when, like both of them. And I feel like that wouldn't have hit hard if it was his partner and not Jeff.
Yeah. And the whole sentiment was, he's like, you're not going to have a restful night's sleep for the rest of your life. And the only time I come around is going to be your relief.
Yeah.
And I'm retired, so you don't know when I'm going to show up.
Yeah, that was sick.
That's the dynamic that I loved at the end.
Yeah. I mean, what a great ending to, because first of all, Toby gets to keep the land, like it worked. You know, I love when bank heist movies work, you know, whether it's Ocean's 11 or, you know, Italian Job or whatever. I like it when it works. I like when the bad guys get it. Yeah, Bandit, exactly, Bandit. So that, like, it was like a win there that he got the land. So now he's cranking oil. His family's taken care of. Like, I loved that was resolved. But then, yeah, Jeff Bridges, like his character points out that he's like, yeah, you did all this for your family, but like, you're going to suffer. Like, you're going to be tortured for the rest of your life. And so it kind of leaves like this question mark in the air of like, is it worth it? Like, is it worth like losing sleep and like, like risking your, salvation if you believe in that or whatever, like the morality of life, just like to take care of your family. Like, and people died, like Toby was responsible for some deaths. And so that's on his conscience. Is it worth it? And so again, this movie kind of leaves you asking this question, like the credits scroll and you're left asking this question based on that final dialogue that, again, I thought the performance of both those characters was just so perfect. That final scene, just a great capstone to a great movie. And that's another thing I think we should add to our list of, elements that make a movie perfect. Like the satisfaction of an ending, that's gotta fit somewhere in there, right? Like just a good ending to a great movie is, because Alita Battle Angel, for example, is a movie that I love to death, but they left you on a cliffhanger in anticipation for a sequel, and there's just so much left undone that it's kind of an unsatisfactory ending, despite being an awesome movie, in my opinion. This one's great because awesome movie, capstone with a great ending. I just think that there's some extra points for that.
On that point, just make sure you go see Avatar 3, because all the profits that James Cameron is making on the Avatar movies, he's self-funding Alita 2. So,
oh, nice, good. Yeah. Can't wait.
Yeah.
We need a resolution from Alita, man. I'm telling you. All right. Any other thoughts before we move to votes, and then Chase can nominate the next one? Any additional?
No, I think you hit it. Like I think my favorite part was I think my favorite like satisfaction part of the movie was when they were figuring out like how to fund everything, right? And they go to the casino, and when they're cashing out, he's like, "Do you want to check?" He's like, "Yeah." And can you make it out to this bank, the bank that they've been robbing? And then when they saw the lawyer, he goes, "Get a trust and make the bank own the trust." And he goes, because then it's tied up within themselves and they can't do any. I was just like, oh, that's brilliant. So
yeah, didn't he say something when they were talking to that one guy where he's like, you get that money, hell or high water, and they're like, you're not questioning the morality of this. He's like, as far as I'm concerned, like the fact that you're making those bastards pay for their own land or whatever he said, like,
yeah, he's like, that's the most Texas thing I've ever heard.
Yes, that was it. That was the line. That's the most Texas thing I've ever heard. I mean, this movie's just, I'll be watching this one regularly for the rest of my life. It's so good. I'm so glad that this is the first time you guys have both watched this, so I'm glad I could introduce you guys to it as well. But yeah, if there's nothing else, let's I don't think there's anything else.
Well, I was gonna say, who other than their boys had a satisfying ending? I don't think anybody had a satisfying ending, and that's what makes it satisfying. Like Toby's not satisfied. He lost his brother. He's lost his parents. Like his mom died was kind of the impetus, right? Like we have to get this done. She's died, and the bank's coming after her, and we got to get this done in this time. And he's not with his ex-wife, and she's as pissed off as they come. The boys won't talk to him. The sheriff has lost his partner, and he's retired, and so he has nothing. He doesn't know what to do with himself. And the other two main characters are dead. So like, it's an unsatisfying, very human ending, but it also wraps it up, and it also makes you think, like, you can imagine him coming over in another month at night, and what are they going to talk about? There's so many places you can go at the end of it, even though if it's tied up like a bow, in the uncomfortableness of it. I don't know how to describe it. It's such a paradox ending conundrum. It's satisfying. It's not satisfying. It's tied up. It's got, Jeff Bridges knows what happened. He can't prove it, but he knows.
Exactly.
So
yes.
Like, what does this mean for another 20 years?
Exactly. Yes. This is what I've been talking about for like the past, I don't know, year of us having these conversations, is the wow factor. What you just articulated for me was the wow factor of this movie, where when the credits scroll and you sit back and you like throw your whatever's left of your popcorn in the seat next to you, and you're just like this, and you're like, geez, and you just think and you ruminate a lot of times I just think as like even not in a Marvel movie, I'll be thinking up until like the entire credits scroll, the lights in the theater turn on because I'm just like floored by the message and the impact that the movie had on me. So this was definitely one of those moments, and you articulated it perfect right there. It's just so much to think about, so much to digest, and it's just I don't know. And in addition to that, the fact that it's a beautiful movie that was like the execution of the acting and cinematography and dialogue and writing. I mean, it's all just it's perfect, right? Right. Chase, yes or yay or nay for its perfection?
Yes.
Yes. And Justin?
I mean, it's not El Dorado good for a Western, but it's a perfect movie.
There you go. Sweet. All right, I'll take it. Awesome. We'll take it to the bank. It's a perfect movie. I don't even care what the other guys vote.
3-0. Yeah.
Wait, what if but being here, your vote counts twice, and if you don't, that only counts as once. Therefore, if you want, skin in the game, you show up.
That's a great incentive. Let's bring it before the board and see what they think.
Let's wait till Drew moves back to the States, because I think that's a huge problem for him.
True. That's true.
And then Alan is on they're both on islands, actually probably closer to each other than they are to us.
Probably.
But they're in different days.
Yeah, it's a mess. We'll figure it out eventually. But Chase, I turn the time over to you to give us the long-awaited. What is this? Your third nomination, right?
And I'm 50-50, man. My movies are
Chase,
50-50.
I've voted perfect for both of your movies.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
Bo
voted no for one of them.
Peanut Butter Falcon and Gattaca, right? Those were your two? Listen, Chase, I wanted to vote yes for Peanut Butter Falcon, but it just didn't feel right. I'm so sorry.
I know. It was an uphill battle.
Yeah.
And my next nomination, I don't think it's a slam dunk, but the more I watch this movie, the more I love this movie. And I love it because I'm a dad. And this is a movie that the director hates. He watches it all the time, and he just can't like it. My nomination is Hook.
Hook. Yes. I called it. Hook.
So, yeah.
Dude, what a clever nomination. A rated PG children's movie. That's great, dude. That's great. Let's do it. Let's do Hook.
I watched it like 3 months ago, knowing that my day was coming up. I have like a list of like 5 or 6 others, but I rewatched this one to make sure that this is the movie that I wanted to nominate. Dude. Anyways, I'll talk about it in 2 weeks.
Oh, that's awesome, Chase. Great nomination. I'm excited for this one.
And cool. And I'm gonna rewatch it. Like, I love this movie. It's not like I watched it 3 months ago and was like, oh, this is a movie I'm gonna rewatch it in the next 2 weeks.
Not to mention the literal 100 times we watched it as kids growing up. Like this was one that we had on VHS that we had on. This was in our normal rotation of movies we'd watch on the reg. So this is
sounds like the first night.
Drop it, Justin.
It's an uphill battle, man.
You leave me to the Badgers every time.
I want this to be a slam dunk, but I know it's got problems. It's got warts.
Yeah, it's got some warts. So we'll dig into that.
Julia Roberts. I mean, too soon.
Let's save it for the discussion. We got a lot.
Watch it with the perfect movie lens, like that. That's what I'm saying. Watch it with the perfect movie lens, because you're remembering it from a not perfect movie lens. Right.
No, this is great, dude. I'm excited for this one. Awesome. So we've got our next nomination. We will pick this conversation up again in 2 weeks. In the meantime,
not in 2 weeks, because in 2 weeks it's Christmas.
Oh yeah. So maybe 3 weeks, 1 week, however, whenever it happens. Yeah. And
or maybe like the Monday before Christmas or the Friday after Christmas, or like we could do something. Anyways, we'll make it work.
Yeah, whenever it is, it's gonna be bangerang. So
let's do it next week.
Next week, let's do it. Yeah, we've actually got to pick these up a little bit. We've been slacking. So let's do
I don't think the next 2 weeks after that are going to be any time that we can all get together with families involved. And they're like, you're going to do what instead of Christmas or New Year's? Like,
that's true.
we're just asking for, that's hell or high water territory.
Yeah, that's so true. So true. So let's plan on next week if we can. And let's make sure that everybody's safe if they're
The only
flying.
person we need is Brownie.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
this is a movie you can watch with your kids.
Yeah, it's true.
Like this isn't like I need to wait for my kids to go to bed to watch it, right? And find time away from the wife or whatever, because right, she doesn't want to watch like like an action bank robber movie, which okay, whatever. I wanted to, but like this is a family friendly movie. Now,
Family movie.
I will say like I would if you could get your kids to hold still and shut up, do it. Yeah, try and do it without the distractions of like.
Oh, we know.
Yeah.
Oh, we know our kids. We know how to watch movies and in those environments. It's different for
Baby
everybody.
P, man.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, have a good night, and don't let your
It's
arms get
9:30.
tired.